When I was 11 years old, I was sitting on the floor playing with my sister at my aunt's house. My aunt Brenda was talking to my auntie Irene and a few other people that were there. I don't really remember everyone else. But I remember sitting down and my back was to them, rocking my sister in the car seat. And what I heard was, he's never going to amount to anything. And as an 11-year-old kid, I heard that, and I made a decision that day that I was never going to let somebody else's opinions about me affect who I was. I was going to win. I was going to fight for the things that I wanted in my life. I was never going to let somebody else's words about me affect me, that I stopped trying. At 11 years old, I made a decision that I was in control, that I was a champion, that I was going to win. I've had so many challenges leading up to this point. I've been successful in business and I failed in business and I've rebuilt it. I've been a successful fighter and I've got my ass kicked as a fighter and I went back and I fought. I've been successful in my life. I failed in my life and I've rebuilt it over and over and over again. Every one of those times, someone has come up against me and said, hey, you're done, you're going to lose. Hey, you're done, you're finished. And I've had to go back to being that 11-year-old kid and question and make a decision over and over and over again, once and for all, that their opinion about me and where I am doesn't define who I am. I'm willing to put in the fucking work over and over and over again. I've even questioned God with that thought. Because I believe so much in myself. I believe so much more than what somebody can ever say about me, that I'm willing to go through the fire and prove it to me that I'm right about me. And every time I've shot. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. If we're having this conversation at some point, you believe that you're put here and created to win. You probably have a business, you probably have a wife, you probably have children. You've probably been up against total opposition in the direction that you want to go. That's what champions do. There's no need for you to fight if you aren't fighting against something or fighting with something. So for me, what do I fight against? I fight against people who just settle. I fight against people who doubt. I fight against people who want to be average, people who don't want to succeed at the highest level possible in their life. Why would you want to live a life of mediocrity when you know that you can have more? I'll answer that. Most people aren't willing to put in the work. Most people aren't willing to embrace the fact that it is going to require so much more of you than you can ever think that you can be or anybody can ever give you, that if you do that, you'll win. People don't want that conversation. People run from that shit. It is up to people like myself and people like you to redefine what that means. To create an army, a class of champion-minded people that are willing to fight and do the things that are required of them. And that is put in the work and work like that every day to the highest level possible. Give 100% of themselves in everything that they do without the time limits. They're willing to do the work that nobody's willing to see because everybody else wants fanfare and wants to be patted on the back and wants a spotlight on them. But they aren't willing to do the work to fucking win when nobody's watching. That's a champion. That's how I win over and over again. That's how I've helped other people win over and over again. That's how you probably have won in your life over and over again. It takes that. It takes that 11-year-old kid that was told that he wasn't going to be anything to rise to the occasion and go, nope, not me. If I have to stay up late, if I got to go to bed early, if I got to go to bed late, if I got to do the work, if I got to show up, if I got to train, if I got to get punched in the face thousands of times, if I got to do 1,000 shots, if I got to stay up and study, if I got to practice my scripts, if I got to practice my speech, if I want to be the best person in the world, this is what it takes. Are you willing to do that? See, if you were like me as that 11-year-old kid, when you made the decision to never let anyone stop you from being what you wanted to be, to not listen to what everybody else has to say, then you are, without saying. And that's what living the champion standards is about. That's why when I say champions only beyond this point, you understand that, because you understand that to be a champion, there's blood, there's sweat, there's tears, there's money, there's time, there's energy. There's all of the things that are required of you to be the best, to be elite, and not be an average player in the world. To win. We welcome that. We thrive on it. Without that, what else is there?